Ever wonder how well you could fit in your traditional real estate business in with creative financing and notes? Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of NoteSchool TV, where we bring you amazing content every week. And when is that? It is Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time when we go live with NoteSchool TV. And today we have an amazing guest, but we'll get to her in just a minute. So before we do, I got a couple of things I want to ask you. Number one, I want you to go ahead and like our content there and hit that like button. Subscribe so that you will know, you'll get the information as to when we go live. And to make sure of that, please hit that bell notification. Yep, I mean, like right now, if you haven't done it before, go ahead and hit that bell notification so that you will know when we are ready to go live every Wednesday at 11:05 Central. And just remember that if you would like more information about what we do at NoteSchool, please just go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. Keep those great comments coming and questions that you have on a weekly basis. We would love to talk to you. And certainly would love to see you at one of our one-day classes here very soon. And remember, at NoteSchool, we are going to help you close more deals. So with that, what do we do every week at this time? Well, we go to the news. Well, welcome to the news this week. And I showed you last month a slide that looked very, very similar to this, but it has been revised. And the reason that it has been revised, well, it's simple that Fannie, actually, not Freddie Mac, but Fannie Mae has revised their prediction for house prices this year it's 10.8 now, right? It was 11.2%, and now they've just kind of rounded it to 11. So, and then 3% in 2023. So you can see here when we're looking at where we are at the end of this year and then where we are at the end of 2023. And guys, it's pretty interesting. This article came out, late last week on the 26th, and it was written by Lance Lambert from Fortune, right? You can see this came from Fortune, and this was some CoreLogic analytics and so on. But interesting enough is this. And so the next day, April 22nd, Lance does another piece, and it says the odds of home prices declining hitting your local housing market as told by one interactive chart. So, it says, I'm going to read this verbatim here because I want you to hear it. So for the first time since the early 80s, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate has climbed 2 percentage points in 4 months, climbing from 3.11 in December to 5.11 last Friday. So yeah, they've climbed up, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell, Mr. Powell, has said that they are committed to raising interest rates until they can kind of stave off what is going to be happening as far as inflation and everything else that is going on in the marketplace. So guys, there is a lot of red on that chart, and the red says, well, those major markets are overvalued. There's not quite so many. I'd call that, what is that, light purple maybe? I don't know. There's not a lot of those. And then there are very little that are actually that bluish color. understand that 65%, according to CoreLogic, of the regional housing markets are overvalued. And regional housing, as far as being undervalued, is only 9% of that, and then normal is there's about 26%. So, guys, it's all over the place. Is the rates are going to rise, or the prices of houses are they going to level off? Only the shadow knows. And guys, that is the news for this week as we see it. So now it is my distinct pleasure and honor to bring on our NoteSchool's chief visionary, our esteemed leader and founder of NoteSchool, all-around good guy, Mr. Eddie Speed. How are you, sir?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Yep. So what do you think? I mean, things change day to day and opinions change day to day, right?
I was wondering what white stood for.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I guess
like white is I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it's just up in the air, man.
It was very interesting. Some of the area is I would have painted a little more distinctly with red, but I'm not sure that they didn't put me on that committee to do that.
They did not. And I think today it came out that Tampa is the hottest housing market in the U.S. right now.
Well, Boise and Austin and Phoenix cooled off because you couldn't be much crazier than that.
No. Well, Phoenix, we've always joked that there are so many real estate investors in Phoenix that they need to wear name badges so they not try to sell to each other, right?
A lot to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joe, we have a guest today. I'll let you stay on and introduce her if you would. And you've got some good history with her as well as myself, and just a cool story. I liked your lead in. What about your regular real estate business? And then how in the world would you add creative financing and notes on top of that?
Yeah.
Right. And would it work? So we're asked that a lot. So we have our guest today, I think, can fairly answer the question because she's lived it and done it.
She has. And Eddie, so my wife's a third grade teacher, and Mercedes, you were our guest today was a fourth grade teacher, and then got into, as a real estate broker. And I'll let you talk to her with some of that. Right. And then kind of change that. So let's bring on our guest today, Miss Mercedes Tucker.
Hello, Mercedes.
Hi, Eddie.
Hey.
So you were a fourth grade school teacher?
I was about 22 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. My mother was a first grade school teacher her whole life.
Yeah.
And two of my sisters were elementary school teachers. So I've been corrected a lot with elementary school language. I'm just saying.
So I have to share something with you too. So a few weeks ago, I went out to help at the book fair, at the elementary school. And so it was kind of slow at the book fair. So my wife sends this little boy, Joseph, down, and she wanted me to help him with some fractions. So anyway, there was 5 questions, and I helped him with those 5 questions. And do you know how many of those he and I got right? We got 1 right. He got a 20 on that. It's the new math, right? I'm sorry that I told that story on myself, but anyway, so Eddie, I'm going to drop off and let you have a great conversation here with Mercedes. She's an amazing lady. I am so proud of her with performing notes and non-performing notes and all that. So I'm going to jump off and let you guys talk a minute, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
All right. Awesome. Well, our guest today, Mercedes Tucker, she is a real estate broker, and NoteSchool has trained a lot of people that their day job is traditional real estate brokerage, not just buying houses, but also brokerage. And fact is, I was thinking about this, Mercedes. I spoke to your real estate brokerage chapter in Sacramento probably about 8 years ago. It might have been a little longer than that, but so I always enjoy seeing somebody in traditional real estate particularly like just brokerage or just with a rental portfolio and really trying to transition it. So I think what our audience is dying to know is, how did you balance it? How did you do both?
Well, in real estate, basically your income and the activity kind of ebbs and flows. And so, I wasn't really doing full time when I got into notes. And so I had a lot of time to study. So back in 2013, I attended one of your 3-day classes, and that's how I got interested in notes. And you just blew my mind when I went into that class. It just blew my mind, and I started looking at the possibilities of what I could do. I saw your creativity, and I just wanted to learn everything you had to teach.
Well, I really do appreciate that. But, I say, somebody's been swinging the hammer as long as I have, surely we've picked up a trick or two, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you're my mentor.
Well, thank you for that. So, one of the things that I know that we've all learned and that really matters is, and I had to really be clear about this to myself and to students when I started teaching many years ago. And that is, I have been doing this a long time. So I'm not worried about my victories at this point. I'm worried about the students' victories, right? And I think that, Mercedes, you've been a great example of somebody that's really taken it and run with it. And by the way, I'm so impressed with some of the deals that you bring to the deal lab. I mean, you got some deals with some serious money in it. You're in a good market, high dollar property. You're in a good market, but a lot of times people would say, well, high dollar properties, you can't make creative financing work, right? Well, you do.
Well, I really like the last NoteSchool TV. You guys were talking about 10% of seller financed deals are in California. So yeah. I have hope.
You definitely have hope. And there is a lot. I've trained some of the biggest rock stars that I've ever trained were from the state of California. I ride you guys a little bit and tease you a little bit, but you guys are people from California particularly tend to be very entrepreneurial. They're willing to take a shot at something. And sometimes we just got to be willing to go jump off the high dive. Now, I don't mean you don't some training before you jump off the high dive's really a good thing, right? So you don't hurt yourself, but you just got to go be willing to do it. And you've done that. And so the balance is where, I think is such a factor, because we're always worried that we can't do something part-time. We're thinking, I can't, because most business consultants will tell you, oh, you can't do this part-time. And I would say that 90% plus of the people that join NoteSchool have something that occupies a lot of their week. And so you've added both of them to it. I guess we should ask you where you think the real estate market's going. Some of your stuff might be a little red out there, huh?
Well, out here I have listings where the values are really high. So the buyers that are coming to take a look at it used to be able to they used to be able to buy in that price range, and they're finding now, because of high property taxes and increasing interest rates, they're no longer qualified for that, and they'd have to go a step down. So it's very frustrating. So for some of for one of my listings in particular that I'm having trouble selling, I'm starting to think about maybe seller financing that or doing something. I'm going to bring it to the deal lab on Monday for sure.
Awesome.
No, not Monday. Is that Wednesday or Tuesday?
Yeah. For
sure. Because I really would like to sell that house. However, I'm having trouble, and glad I can come to you for help.
Well, I can tell you that seller financing became an industry because of inflationary markets, right? Seller financing, when I entered the industry in 1980, of course, interest rates were crazy, right? 20%. And it was because of inflation. And you said you have rising rates. The battle for that is typically, doing some form of creative financing. And I'm excited to help you just with some traditional real estate brokerage and some ways to solve problems for these guys that are just trying to buy a property. And they would never even thought about creative terms. But the thing about it is, Mercedes, you can do that, and you can back into so many different ways that they want to buy, and they've got to be able to make some amount of income. But you can move some of that money to a later date for the seller, and so that they can get a conventional mortgage. And it's funny. I don't know about you guys out in California, but man, my people here in Texas, including me personally, the property tax increase is like, call it choke a horse. I mean, our property taxes went up like 30%. So that's that in higher interest rates. Is that going to mean that we need more creative financing?
Yep.
I think so.
And I really would like to do more of that here in my market.
All right. So when you've done some really cool properties on terms, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. I want to talk to you about, because a lot of times people ask me, like, what is it like? How do you approach somebody? What do you say? So let's just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So when you're approaching somebody that's going to carry terms for you, how do you break the ice with them?
Are you talking about them selling the property to me, or?
Yeah.
So I haven't had a chance to do that. I've talked to property owners carrying terms for the buyer. So talking about maybe getting
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah. We're saying the same thing.
Well, okay. So I would talk to the seller about possibly getting, if they're not okay with zero downs, as little as possible. I really like to tell them what the benefits are to seller financing, especially if they're having problems selling their property. Especially also because the prices have gone up. They may have a significant amount that they have to pay capital gains taxes on. So I talked to them about that and being able to do an installment sales.
Yeah. That tax loophole strategy is a lot easier icebreaker than just telling them that they got to carry terms for somebody else in order to sell it, right?
Yes.
It becomes like the opportunity to carry terms, like you get to carry terms, right? Because with that, if you carry terms, the IRS is not going to pay the tax now. So that's
right.
Pretty good pitch.
Because you don't know what capital gains taxes or interest rates are going to be, it's probably better now to do that rather than, capital gains taxes, like you said, could get a lot higher. So
well, and it's just that people just, people have just such an aversion to paying taxes. And you think in terms of, if the IRS let you pay taxes, not in the year you sold it, but way down the road somewhere, think in terms of that's almost like an interest-free loan. And and once again, there's the only strategy that will work with is they have to carry seller financing. The seller has to do part or all of the financing to make that happen. So, so let's talk a little bit about your blending of your brokerage and with the note thing. Are you 50-50? What percentage do you do a traditional real estate versus the creative finance side?
I'm actually doing 50-50. I'm trying to get out of real estate, the traditional way of real estate. I do want to reach out to the tired landlords, people who want to get rid of property, and be able to create notes for them and properly structure it so that they would be able to sell it, or I would be able to purchase it.
Well, is this just more fun than brokering real estate?
Well, I think it's a little bit more like my style because I'm in real estate. I'm talking to property sellers. So it's a natural progression. So if we see that there's a bunch of people owning property and a big percentage of these property owners, tired property sellers are free and clear, I see an opportunity there.
No doubt. And it is definitely more creative than just the same old thing over and over, right?
Right.
And I guess another big thing is you're making money today, and then with the upside of making money tomorrow. That's a pretty good thing, huh?
I would think so. I mean, if they really like being a landlord, but not, as far as getting the cash flow, I mean, but not liking the fact that they have all this responsibility, then I think it would really appeal to them for me to tell them what the benefits are.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. I think that it's a classic example of people not knowing what they don't know. Like the small time landlord that's not been very good at managing his tenants. He just doesn't know. He's never even dreamed that it was possible to defer taxes. So they love it. Mercedes, let's do this. We're going to have a word from our sponsor, and I'm going to come back and let's talk about a recent deal in some way. And it doesn't have to even be about the money, but how somebody got their problem solved in their life because of something that creative financing did. See you in a moment.
Okay.
Well, hello, everyone. It is Brian with the teaching team here at NoteSchool, and I'm excited that I get to be the one to invite you to the upcoming Gold in Notes class. That's right. It is a one-day deeper dive class that we call Gold in Notes because of how valuable this time spent is. This is a full day that we really get to dig into the nitty-gritty, the whole world of creative financing, not just how to acquire more deals, how to get access to more capital, how to defer a lot of the taxes for us as well as for the sellers that we're talking to, and really learn how to create your own notes. And really, once you learn how to create your own notes, this is really where we spend an entire afternoon really pulling back the curtain on what the note business is, from wholesaling notes, buying and holding performing notes to really build your wealth. I'll even show you a strategy called partials, which is by far the best wealth building tool I've ever seen in the real estate space. And we're definitely going to spend some time talking about non-performing notes, which is by far the biggest opportunity in today's marketplace, solely because of the events that have happened over the past couple of years. This is when people are not paying their mortgages, and we're going to make a lot of big money from these bad debts, and we're going to help a lot of people get a second chance. It's an absolutely fantastic day. Come spend a day really dig in and discover a lot of this stuff so that you too can start building your wealth. It's a day meant to really be engaging. Bring your questions, bring your comments, bring your business problems, and we will see you there.
All right. Well, I think Joe's going to come hang out with us a little bit here too, Mercedes. And let's talk about a transaction. Let's give us a deal, and let's talk about what really happened. Not so much the money. And it's fine to talk about the money, but I want to talk about what happened to the people, because that's it, right? Okay.
So recently, I have a friend and client who had been looking for a house for quite a long time. She has a very limited income, and her rent just keeps going up and up and up. And as far as the income was concerned, she had only pretty much maxed out at a certain amount, but with the rising interest rates, nothing available to see, like very, very few listings in my area. I was at a loss, and I just decided, you know what? I know that I can sell or finance my friend, and I can help her. And because I had some funds in my IRA that I could put together and purchase a house for her and sell or finance, I was able to make that happen. And that's closing in a couple of days.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, your IRA account makes money. Your friend experiences home ownership. The seller,
and I was able to get her her payment a little bit underneath what she was paying in rent in LA. So
that's great.
I probably wouldn't have thought of that if I hadn't, if I don't watch you and Eddie week after week doing deals creatively.
Mercedes, the funny thing is last fall I did a news piece, and it was talking about Sacramento, and so everybody kind of from the Bay Area decided they were going to move. It was very affordable in Sacramento, right? So then everybody from the Bay Area hears that, they moved to Sacramento, and then 3 months later, Sacramento was the most unaffordable city in the U.S. to live in. So there you go.
I have to tell you, I sold a house in December of 2020. And 14 months later, it was $200,000 more. I could kick myself.
So
just to show you, nobody really knows. I mean, even the news from today's episode, one source said that prices are going to go up, and the other one says it's going to decline. So.
Yeah. It's certainly a mixed bag. One of the other things that you've been doing, and we get to talk every week on Water Cooler Wednesday Deal Lab, and you have been doing an amazing job of raising private capital, and you've met some people, and just talk about that just a minute, about the conversation you've been having, and you were invited just recently to a conference of some kind. I can't remember what it was, but to present at a conference based on what you're doing now. So let's talk about that with us for a minute. Yeah.
Well, everybody that knows me knows I'm an introvert, and I don't know if you guys know, I've experienced a bunch of losses over the years. Just recently, most recently, within 4 or 5 years, my mother and my husband passed away. So I'm just really trying to just get myself out there to, otherwise my business would die, right? So just making conversations, just improving myself, just doing the things that I've been learning about, application time, basically. So in doing that, I have been talking to more people, and sometimes I just hear people talking about IRAs. I join the conversation. I'm at the gym, just basically wherever I go, just finding ways to just naturally talk about real estate and notes, and my excitement for notes shows through. So people actually tell me, hey, tell me more about that. Or so basically I invite them over to my office, talk to them and get that conversation, try to figure out what they need, because a lot of people do have that anxious money that Eddie keeps talking about. Or if it's still in a brokerage account, I try to get them to do something so that they can self-direct. So in speaking with people, then I basically run into opportunities to speak to more people, and I'm pushing myself to talk to groups. And I think, I'm feeling great about it.
Well, you do have a big one coming up, though, and you told me about it last week, and it was a group of people, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a bigger one. Maybe it's this fall you're doing it.
It's a retirement planning seminar, and I asked if I could have maybe 15, 20 minutes, and I was going to use the PowerPoint. And I have done that in the past with one-on-one, and I think that's really it's very interesting to people. People are open to knowing more.
One of the things that we hear is that people are afraid to talk to other people about notes, especially when they're new. And you're not new. You had gotten in, and then you lost 7 family members in 12 years and lost your husband. And I know that was and your mother, and that was devastating. And I know that kind of stopped everything for a little while, but some of our folks say, well, I can't talk to somebody because what if they ask me a question that I don't know? And you don't really find that, do you?
No, not really. I'm going very basic in explaining, and it's a new concept to them. So
yeah,
I don't think it's something that other students should be worried about.
Yeah, people sometimes raising capital, the advantage that Mercedes has in raising capital is that now she owns essentially her own little bank. So she gives a private investor a lower yield, but a safe yield, something he can sleep at night with, and the stock market may not be that. Right. And then she turns around and relends the money, right, to somebody that she can create a financial opportunity with a buyer, and she's using this money to relend this money, lower rate, higher rate. And it's just exactly what your banks do, right? Your bank loans you, it takes your money, loan it out to somebody else, and they make a delta on it. They make a spread.
Yeah.
And Mercedes, you buy outside of your backyard too, don't you? I know you recently bought a note down in South Texas, on the border down there, haven't you?
Yes.
McAllen, Texas.
I really like that deal, and I'm glad you guys did too.
That's good.
We did. Yeah.
Mercedes, you're an inspiration to a lot of people. There's a lot of people that I believe that some significant changes in the market are not far in front of us. I believe that the note strategy is a very much a hedge against inflation. It is an inflation fighter. And a lot more people are going to need creative financing because there's no real estate deals are going to work. If you just keep raising the price of property and raising the rates, as you know, Mercedes, your calculator gets to where it won't work, right? And so we're going to be needing this. So we thought it would be fun to have you on here today because you have been such an inspiration. Clearly, we're all saddened over all the trauma that you've had to live through. But I'm going to say what we're so proud to call you one of us is that you have fought your way back.
Yep.
And you are killing it, girl. You're doing okay.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So, guys, I'll wrap it up. Thank you, Mercedes. We value what you do out there for other folks as well. So, guys, this is the time of the show that we go through every week. But listen, again, reach out to us. Let us know if you have any questions or comments, and we'd love to see you soon. And just check us out, noteschool.com/TV. And remember, at NoteSchool, we teach folks how to close more deals. So until next time, we'll see you on the other side. Bye now.